Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the And Both podcast. This is a quick one. So if you just have 20 minutes this week to listen to a podcast, I have 20 minutes for you. It is a recap of season 9. It is a preview for season 10 and sort of a where we're going and all of those pieces along the way, just in time for the holiday season kickoff. Yeah, all the updates are inside. So no more intro. Here's the episode. Welcome to And Both, a podcast about what it really looks like to put yourself on the list while raising kids and doing all the other things life asks of you. I'm your host, Ashley Blackington, and on this show, you'll hear conversations with moms who are figuring it out in their own ways, plus a few solo episodes from me from time to time. It's not about having all the answers, it's about sharing stories, learning from each other, and knowing we don't have to choose between either or when we're living in the middle of And Both. Let's get into today's episode. Hello, and welcome to a special solo episode of the And Both podcast. This is one that's recorded slightly before it came out, which is not typical for our schedule, but we are getting into the holiday season and we just wrapped season 9 of the podcast. And so I wanted to come on and say hi, say thank you, do a little recap, and then sort of give you a view of what's to come in the new year. So first of all, I want to say thank you to all the guests that have come on this season. I feel like we've had a really great blend of different experiences and different topics and things that I could not have, planned out, which is it's a wonderful situation to be in where we have such a wide variety of people, including our first dad on the podcast. We talked a lot this season about the mental load. We talked a lot about how we're navigating this motherhood piece, as the podcast is this motherhood piece alongside ourselves, and then hearing from people that are approaching the work that they do, whether it's a business, whether it's their family, whatever it is, in a way that is trying to be more in alignment with who they are. So I always think that is really cool for people to come on and share, because a lot of different perspectives and different ways about thinking about parenting and how you move through the world is very cool. So some of the themes from this season 9 are built around definitely community, comfort, and safety in terms of creating a place for people to feel like they can come in and be themselves and show up as themselves and find other people who are in this similar, maybe it's an age or stage of life, stage of parenthood, stage of whatever, but having people that can identify and carry on that way. We are continuing on. We've continued on with our roundtable series. We had 2 that were in this chunk of time. That was season 9. The first was about grief in terms of, recent grief or more a longer period of time from when someone has experienced loss. So I think that is really interesting. It's also an episode that people really seem to identify with, because we had a lot of listeners and a lot of people reached out to share different parts and pieces in that conversation that they identified with. So that's very cool to see and to know that is landing in a space where people who want to hear or need to hear it are actually able to get that. And then we had one which was around the holidays, around burnout. I think that burnout is this topic that it's the Pandora's box of the motherhood experience, is that once we started talking about this, we're not going to ever be able to put it back in the box, which is important because it never belonged in a box in the first place. But that now we're looking at it from a way of how do we create solutions and how do we think about what we're doing and showing up in the world and for ourselves and all of those pieces in regards to not necessarily avoiding burnout, but identifying what things lead to it and how we're going to move forward in a way that does not circle back into making this constantly repeating cycle. So that was great. And especially in the context of the holidays, I feel like this year, I don't know about you, but it feels like the time period between Christmas and Thanksgiving is so short that November, like my kids were in school, I think for like 15 days, maybe, if that. And we had half days. And so the lead up to Thanksgiving was really quick from Halloween. And then once Thanksgiving happened, it was like I don't know, it feels like 72 hours later, it's time for Christmas, which is just bonkers. And so I think the crunch of that time and the crunch of the expectations around holidays and magic and all of those pieces are really, for whatever reason, this year, when I was talking to people about it, other parents about it, it just feels really intense. And so it was really nice to be able to have a conversation in a roundtable format with Aaron and Paige and Allie around their experiences and what they were seeing and how that's kind of led into the holidays for them. Again, these roundtables have become pretty popular, which is really very cool. And Aaron and I will continue on in the new year with those. But yeah, just really, really interesting. And I do have to say that of all of the themes across all of the episodes, this one concept that I've kind of kept circling back to, along with, this burnout and grief and mental load and all of these pieces that we talk through in a lot of these episodes, is the conversation that I had with my friend Meg, where we talked about the colander list. And in this interest of disclosure, I guess, or the keeping it real, quote unquote, is that I am someone who has chronically failed at the colander list. I am someone who continues to try and show up at the buffet of life and pile my plate higher and higher. And so having this conversation with Meg was really wonderful in terms of having a visual to think around this. And then also having Meg reach out later on and say, it might be something to consider, all from a place of love, because it has truly been a very, very busy season for me between work, the tech company that I have started and am trying to grow and build and scale and do all of those things as an entrepreneur and a business owner alongside the podcast, and having 4 kids and. So it was a great conversation, voice note, which turned into a conversation, which turned into, yes, I think you're right. And I think that this is something that I've sort of been putting off for a very long time, because I feel like I can live in service of continuing to take things on and continuing to say yes to so many things and getting to a space of feeling a little crispy. And so I love having the opportunity to sit and have these conversations with people on the podcast, but also outside of the podcast. And I'm very fortunate to have somebody like Meg in my life who can say, hey, it might be something to think about. Today's episode is brought to you by Dovetail, the app that's changing the way families navigate caregiving. If you're juggling your kids' schedules, checking in on your parents, and trying to manage your own needs, Dovetail is made for you. I built Dovetail as a clinician and caregiver who saw firsthand how overwhelming this role can be and how much lighter it feels when the care is shared. Download Dovetail now on iOS, Google Play, coming soon. So with that in mind, I wanted to, again, first of all, say thank you to everyone, to all of the listeners for of the show, to all of the guests that have come on the show and shared their stories and their businesses and their time, because I know that it's no small feat to rearrange parts of your day, find a quiet space or time to be able to record and have people come on. And then also to say that for next year, going into the new year and season 10, which is unbelievable. We're over 100 episodes in. We're going to be opening up season 10 in January. But in between now, when you hear this, and January, there will be no new episodes coming out of the podcast. We're going to take a little bit of a break. We'll have some compilation pieces and some highlights and stuff like that you guys will see online and on social media. But we are going to take a pause for, I think, 2 weeks is what it's going to end up being, so that I can have a chance to slow down a little bit, have a chance to enjoy the holiday season with my kids, who are now all in school, so they'll all be home, have a chance to really, I guess, recharge and show up in the new year for the episodes, for the guests, for the promotion of the podcast and all of that from a space of rest, because I really, truly love doing this. I love having the opportunity to connect with other people, with other parents, and share their stories and their businesses and all the things that they're building and doing to change the world in such a wonderful and positive way. But I do also need to fill my own bucket. I do need to fill my own cup. I do need to do all of those things. And so for the next couple of weeks, I will be working on that. When we come back in season 10, I have a few of those episodes already recorded, and I'm really excited for those to get out there. I am absolutely loving the fact that a lot of the previous guests, I think in the season, really started season 8, maybe season 9. I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs, and a lot of it has come from wanting to have control over your time and your career and your money and all of those pieces. And so I'm excited that season 10 will feature some more people that are geared in that way and or have that mindset, but also that we have people that are coming on that don't, and that are just navigating things in a different way, or they have a different career trajectory, different life choices, and all of that. So always trying to find a wide spectrum of experiences and conversation pieces to bring in. So season 10, cannot believe that we're here or going to be here. Cannot believe that we have rounded 100 episodes. Cannot believe that we are 2 years into this podcast. It's been just absolutely wonderful and lovely, and I can't imagine not doing it. So if you are someone who has not shared your story, you have listened to the show before, and you have something that you would like to talk about and share, I would encourage you to fill out a guest request form. If you go to andbothcompany.com or andbothpodcast.com and fill out a form and let me know a little bit about you and what you want to share and how you identify with this idea of and both. I would love to continue to bring different stories. I'd love to continue to bring stories of people that are doing cool things and people that are getting from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and what that entails. So please reach out. I've had a fair number. I would say probably, I don't know, probably 10 people that have appeared on this podcast that I can think of off the top of my head that have gone on to start their own podcast. So this being their first podcast experience, and then carrying on to guest on other shows and then start their own shows and share that with the world. So if you are someone who feels like, oh, I can't imagine ever going on a podcast, come hang out with me. It's not scary. It saves me from doing stuff like this where I'm talking to the wall in my office because I would much rather talk to other people and learn about their lives and the things that they're interested in and they're doing and they're working on and what their experience is. And also to know that if you're someone who has listened to the show, not necessarily listened to all of the episodes, but you've listened to the show and you haven't heard an episode that necessarily directly connects with you in terms of your experience or whatever, please, please, please fill out a request form, because the more variety that we have, the more likely that someone else is living in a similar-ish way. Maybe they have similar situations, similar whatever it is, but they haven't been able to hear something that aligns with them or that they connect with, and so that they are not feeling like there's other people out there like them. And I don't want anyone to ever feel that way. I want people to know that there's a lot of community, and not every story has to be exactly the same, but if there's parts and pieces of it that you can identify with, then that's where I want the focus to be. So if you have something to share, would like to share, please come on, share your motherhood experience and what that's been like. Would love to have you. And I think that's it. I think that we're going to just have a quick snippet today of where we're at and where we're going. And I'm really excited to come back in 2026 with a whole new, fresh bundle of energy coming off of the holidays with the family, and see where we can take this. I have some ideas for different roundtables that are going to come out, and yeah, just really, really thrilled to be here, thrilled to come back, all of that stuff. That's it for now. I hope that you have a wonderful holiday season with your family. I hope that there is hot coffee. I hope that there is some modicum of rest. I hope that you feed and water yourself and that you have a chance to sleep recharge, do something, whatever it is that is for you along the way, and that you come into 2026 with a renewed or rested or whatever that is for you, where it feels like turning over a new leaf in a good way, not reinventing yourself. We're not getting into those shenanigans here. Feed and water yourself. Have a hot cup of coffee if that's your jam. Have some tea. Put on the fuzzy slippers, all of that stuff. And I will see you in 2026.